So up until now we have learned so many widgets of Flutter, and some of the most important are rows and columns, flexible and expanded, and also the stack and the position. So let's utilize these widgets together and let's build this simple login page UI in Flutter. And we also separate our lessons in the separate directories in here. So this is not going to be confusing for you to get the code from the GitHub. So first of all, down here we have again a scaffold, an app bar with the text widget of login page, and here you can see we got the login page text in the app bar, and we got the center widget in the body. But for now, let's remove the center widget and put the column widget in here. So we got the column widget in here. We have created the column widget in the root just because if you see in this login page, we have all the contents aligned vertically. Like first we have an image of Flutter and we have some text in front of it, and then we have a text field and one more field and some text to forget password and a button of login, and here at the bottom we have the new user or create account. So everything's aligned like vertically just like this. So that's why we are using the column. So before going and start building this login page, first of all we have to add the access of images in our Flutter application to get the images and show it up on our emulator. So in the pubspec.yaml file, if you move a bit down, you will see this Flutter tag in here, and you will also see this use material design equal to true, and here you will see this assets commented out. So from here we will allow access to use assets in our Flutter application. So in here, first of all, in our project directory, here we will right click and will create new directory. In our project directory, its name will be assets, and that's it in here. And now in here we will uncomment these assets and move them one space back, remove this one and also move this one space back, and here we will specify the name of our directory, which is assets, and we will put the slash, meaning we are putting the path in here, and at last we will put the dot, meaning that allow access to all the images inside the assets directory. And now we are going to add the Flutter image in our asset directory. So we got this flutter.png in our asset directory. You can download this image directly from my GitHub account, and also you can download it from the Google. And after this done, you have to go to your pubspec.yaml file again and simply press the pubget to update the dependencies, just because we have added this pubspec.yaml file. So after editing it, we have to pubget in here. So all the dependencies I have gotten, and now let's go to the main.dart, and in here, if you are using Android Studio, if you see this pubspec has been edited, get the dependencies, simply ignore it just because we have already done it once. So in here, first of all, we are going to have the image of Flutter. So to get the image of Flutter, we are going to have the widget of image dot, which is the constructor of this image class, that is asset, and it accepts some string. We will pass the string in here, and this string is going to accept the path of our image. So our image is located at the asset/flutter.png. Now after adding this, simply Ctrl S to hot reload, so you will get this Flutter image on your emulator. But if the image is not loaded, so what you have to do is simply close your main.dart and run it again, so this will be gotten. So we got our Flutter image in here, and now look at the image in here. So we have this Flutter, and in front of it we have the text widget. So what it means, they are in the row. Like first we have the image and then we have the text. So inside this column we will wrap this image widget in the row just like this. And also to decrease the size of the image, we will wrap this image with the container and set its width and height. So we wrap our image as a widget with the container widget, and we set the width and height to 100. Now press Ctrl and S to hot reload to see the results. So you can see we got the Flutter image in here just like this, and now we want some text in front of it. So in here, in the children of row, you can see there's the children of row, that's our row widget, and there's the children of row, and outside this in here, that's the column. Like here will comes our the text fields, and this text and also this button and also this one. But here we have two image and the text aligned in the row. So that's why we are using row in here. So right after this container, in the children of this row, we will put in here some text, and that will be Flutter. And after this, press Ctrl and S to hot reload. So we also got this Flutter text in here. So I want to increase its size. So here inside the text we have the property of style, and the style accepts the text style widget, and inside the text style we set the font size to 50 and the font weight to font weight W400, means a little bit bold. Now after this also Ctrl S to hot reload. So we got Flutter just like this. So now we want all these things aligned in the center just like this. So for that we have the property of main axis alignment in the column. So we will set the main axis alignment to center of the column. After this Ctrl S to hot reload. So we got this in the center. And also to make this align like horizontally, so we will also set the main axis alignment of row to the center. So we got this here in the center. Now that was it for our row, and now we will close this row here. Let's take a look once more. We have the container which wraps the image asset widget, which is our this Flutter image logo, and right after this we have this text widget. And if you want some space between these two widgets, this image and this text, so here we have the property of size box, which accepts width or height. So this width and height means if we are putting the size box or the space between the widgets that are aligned vertically, meaning in the column, so we will set the height in here. So as we are in the row, so for that we have set the width to put some space between the widgets horizontally, meaning in the row. So we will set it, let's set 10. And Ctrl S to hot reload. You can see we got a little space between these two widgets, and that's how we use the size box widget. Now close this row just like this, and after this put some vertical space, let's say size box and height of let's say 20. And right after this what we are going to have is this text field. So now how we can create text field in our Flutter? We can create text field using the text form field widget, and also to design it a little bit, it has the property of decoration as we had in the container, but instead of box decoration it accepts the input decoration, and in the hint text we pass the email, and in the border we pass only the outline input border, meaning the outline border for the text form field. Now Ctrl S to hot reload. So we got one field in here that has the hint text of email, and also in the decoration we pass the outline input border to get the outline input border to our field, and inside this we can type something just like this. And right after this we want one more widget of text form field. So simply we will copy the size box and we'll paste it right after this text form field, and also copy this text form field and paste it right after this, and simply change it to password. Now again Ctrl S to hot reload. So we got these two widgets or text form fields in our UI, and we can also type it in here just like this. And what if we increase the size to let's say 40 to make it more clear, just like this. But in here let's say 25 because these two are fields, and that's good. But what if I want some spacing horizontally in here at the sides like in here? So for that we also can wrap single widgets, these text with padding, and set some margin to it. But that's not just a good practice to wrap each widget with the column and set the margin. Simply go for the root container and simply wrap it with the widget, and that widget will be container, and let's set its margin and edge insert start symmetric, which accepts the horizontal and vertical. Like vertically it will give the space from here also and from here also, but if we set the horizontal, so it will give from both sides, like from here, from left also and from right also. So here we'll set the horizontal, let's say 15, and Ctrl S to hot reload. You can see we got the horizontal space from both of the sides on our screen. So instead of setting or wrapping these two widgets with the container and setting the margin individually for these two widgets, we simply wrap our root container, not the container but the column, and set the horizontal margin just like this, and this solves our problem in here. So we got our fields of email and password, we got the image, we got the text, and now next what we want in here is the text of forget password, which color is blue. So let's also do this. So right after these two text form fields in here, first we will put some size box. So again we will copy this size box, and right after this we will paste it, and then we will put some text in here like the text, and inside this we will type forget password, and also put the question mark in here. And again the text widget has the property of style, so we will style this forget password text a little bit. So we give some style to our text, which is forget password, and we set the font size to 16, the font weight to W500. We can also set the direct bold, like the fully bold, but we want to give some a little bold, so we set the W500, and also we set the color to color.blue, so the text color will be changed to blue. And after this, Ctrl S to hot reload, so you can see we got this forget password right after these two fields. Now next what we want in here, that is the button. So again we will copy this size box and paste it right after this text widget, and in here to create this beautiful button in here, we are going to have a container, and the container height is going to have, let's say, 50, and in here we will put the decoration. But now this is the container, and this is going to accept the box decoration just like this, and inside this we will set the color of the container to blue just like this. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this container in here, and you can see we have not specified the width of the container, but still we got this container with the maximum width. So inside the column, if we create a column and do not specify the width to it, so it will take the dynamic width until the container do not have the child widget. But in case if you pass or create the child widget of the container, so that dynamic width will be overridden by that child, and this width will be set to the minimum size of this child of the container. Like first of all, this is a container of max width, even we have do not specified it in here, and the width is dynamic, means the by default max width. And here first of all style it, and then you will go for adding the child, so you will see how this child will override the dynamic width of the container. So put the comma in here, and we will first of all make the rounded borders to it. So put the comma in here, and here we will do border radius to make it the rounded borders. So this border radius accept the border radius, and this is the class which accepts the border radius geometry. You can also check it in here by holding the Ctrl and go to its documentation. This is the border radius class which extends the border radius geometry, and it has the constructor of the circular which accepts the circular in the double. So this will give us the rounded borders for our container. So let's go again and call this circular constructor from this border radius class and set the border radius to, let's say, 20. Ctrl S to hot reload, so we got the circular borders for our button. And now let's specify the child to see the magic. Now let's say the child, and the text will be login. Ctrl S to hot reload, and there we go. The dynamic width is overridden by the text widget, and this take only the space which the login text required. So now we are going to set our height for the container to override the minimum width of our child widget of the container. So we will set 300, or let's also specify the width 300. Ctrl S to hot reload, and that's good. That's how our button will going to look like. Now let's also style this login. So let's copy this style widget from here and put comma in here and simply paste it in here, and simply change its color to white, colors dot white, and that's it. And also increase its size to 18. Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got login like this. Let's change its font weight to bold to make it fully bolded, and also if we set 20, so that will be good. So that's it. We got login in here, but we want this in the center. So how we can make this text widget in the center of this container? So there are three ways to do it. The first way is we have the property inside the column. That is the property of alignment inside the column, inside the container, not in the column. So that alignment accept the alignment dot and center left, bottom center, bottom left, bottom right, center right, and all of these. So we'll simply set this to center, Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this in the center. So that's the first way to set the child of the widget in the center of the container. And the other way is, let's comment this out and wrap this widget to the center widget. So we wrap this text widget to the center widget, which is the child of the container. Ctrl S to hot reload, so again we got this in the center. So that was the second way to put the child of the container in the center. And the third way for this is, let's also remove the center from here and wrap this child with the widget, and that widget is the align, which again accept the alignment as we had for the container, and simply copy this alignment center in here and paste it in here, just like this. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, so this will still remain in the center, just because that's work the same. So there are these three ways to put the widget or the child of the container in the center. So you can use any you want, but the most reliable and good practice will be that if you only set the only alignment property to center, just because this will not make us to write more code or wrapping our child widget of the container with other widgets like center and the align. Ctrl S to hot reload, so that will be good just like this. So now what we are going to do, one more thing here we have to do is to put the new user create account, or we can also say don't have an account, create account. So for that we have to pass right after this container some size box. Let's copy this 25 size box from here and paste it right after this container. Ctrl S to hot reload, it moves a bit up just because we have put the size box in here. And now our text will comes in here, and that will be don't have an account, just asking to the user. If you don't have an account, you can go for the sign up to create your account. We can also write the sign up, but let's say the create account to make it clear. Ctrl S to hot reload, and we got this don't have an account in here, but we want this stuck at the bottom in here. So for that, what we have to do in here, we will simply cut this and remove this size box from here. Again Ctrl S to hot reload, so this will be just like this. Now go a bit up in here and wrap this container with the other column and close this container which has this column, meaning that this content, and right after this put the text widget, and again expand this container widget, expanded. Now Ctrl S to hot reload, so you can see we got the don't have an account at the bottom. So what this means, meaning that we simply wrap this column which has this all of this content in here. We wrap this column with the expanded widget to take all the available space in here, and simply put that column on top of that and put that don't have an account text widget in here. So this content which is in this column took all the available space in here. So that's why this text widget only take the only space this required. So all the space is gotten by this container or this column, just because we have wrapped in the expanded widget, and this text widget is outside from this expanded widget, so it got only a little space in here. So that's how we set this text at the bottom. This all content which is in the column, we wrap this in the container and make it expanded in the column. So at the main X element of the column, this take all the available space and again make this at the bottom. So just like this we can do to make this at the bottom, or to move this at the bottom, not make it. Anyways, so now we want some space at the bottom. So for that, what you have to do, again there are two ways to do it. The first way is to put the size box and height 20, let's say, and Ctrl S to hot reload, so we got it just like this. But one more way is to, let's remove the size box from here and wrap this text with the container and set the margin, let's say margin edge insets dot symmetric, not the symmetric but the only, and from the bottom and 20. So this will work the same. You can see it did not move, so it means it works the same. But one more way in here is, let's Ctrl Z to undo, and that is the way of wrapping this text widget with the padding widget. This is also an external widget to give some padding from outside to any particular widget. So we can also use this padding instead of the container and putting the margin. So instead of this we can also use the padding. So here we will simply set the from all, not from the all side, but again the only bottom 20. Ctrl S to hot reload, and it will did not move just because that worked the same. So we got our simple login page in place. So let's again see what we have done in here. First of all, we have uncommented these assets. To use the assets in our application, we add this Flutter PNG in here, and also in the main.dart we have put the column. First we had only this column, and we have wrapped this with the container to give some horizontal spacing just like this, and in the row we got the image and the text, and we got some horizontal size box with the width, and also some vertical size box with the height of the size box, and the text field to create its text field. The input decoration is for the text field, and for the container we have the box decoration, and we have hint text which is email and password. You can see it in here, and again these two fields, and again the container with the width of 300, height of 50, alignment at the center, meaning that its child will be aligned at the center, and the box decoration color is blue, some rounded borders using this border radius, and the text login, and also some size, not the size but the style for the text. And to put this don't have an account, create account at the bottom, we simply have done put this all content in the other column and wrap this all content in the expanded widget, so it will take all the available space, and the only remaining space will give to this widget which is located in here right after this expanded widget, meaning that it got all the available space and give only the little space or the remaining space to it. So we got just like this in the bottom. So now let's open this, and you can compare it. We got the Flutter, and just like this, two email and password fields, the forget password, the button, and you can also change the size of it to, let's say 25 to it will, so it will be just like this. And after this we have the new user, create account, and we got the don't have an account, create account. And we can also increase the size of it. Let's say in the text we can say the style, text style and font size to 16, so that will be good. So we got our login page in here. The task for you will be to create the sign up page. So it will be really simple, everything will remain the same. Simply you have to create one more field on top of that email and password, and that hint text will be the username, and the forgot password will be removed from here, and the login will be changed to register or the sign up, and instead of don't have an account you have to put the already have an account login or sign in. So that will be the task for you to do it. It will be really simple as I have explained in here. So that was our login page in Flutter.